you mentioned my kids trying to be cute. There's gonna be times that like people throw shots at you, or like there's gonna be times like, you know, like when she did her little diss and it was trash. It could have been trash. People dragged you and I could have leave it at that. But it's like everything on social media is gonna be seen. So when my kids grow up one day and they see that you mentioned them, and then they're gonna ask me like, so what you said, what you did, I'm not going to tell my kids, like, you know, I just felt like she took the high road because she lost because people wasn't on her side. No, I'm not saying that to my kids.
Cardi B just dropped her long-awaited album, Am I the Drama? And in less than 24 hours, it already went platinum. 7 years after her debut, Invasion of Privacy, fans were expecting fireworks. But what nobody expected was the storm that followed. Some people are celebrating her comeback, but others are calling it cheap, desperate, and proof that Cardi's best days might be behind her. So how did this album become one of the most controversial releases of the year? Let's break it down. When Am I the Drama hit streaming platforms, the album came packed with 23 tracks and major features. Summer Walker, Selena Gomez, Kalani, Lizzo, and even Janet Jackson. But what shocked fans wasn't the track list, it was the certification. Platinum in under a day. That's something that usually takes weeks, months, sometimes even years. So how did it happen? 2 words, WAP and Up. Both tracks were mega hits long before this album even existed. WAP, released in 2020, is certified 9 times platinum. Up, from 2021, has 5 times platinum. Both songs also topped the Billboard Hot 100. And when Cardi included them on Am I the Drama, their already massive sales instantly counted toward the album's certification. The result, a platinum album on day 1. Some fans praised it as brilliant. Yes, ma'am, you did your big one. But critics weren't impressed. They called it gaming the system, a cheap way to inflate numbers and make the release look bigger than it actually was. But Cardi wasn't about to stay silent. On Twitter back in June, Cardi clapped back at the critics. She explained that WAP and Up are her 2 biggest songs. Her fans had been asking her to put them on the album, and she felt they deserved a home. She also pointed out that these tracks don't count toward her first week sales anyway. In other words, people could argue about optics, but not about her numbers. To some, this sounded like smart business. To others, it sounded desperate. Still, the move put Cardi in rare company. With this platinum certification, she joined Lady Gaga as one of only 2 artists with a 2025 album already certified platinum. But while the numbers made headlines, the music itself raised a whole new set of questions. The early reaction to Am I the Drama has been divided. Some fans love the mix of R&B hooks, rap swagger, and nostalgic vibes that remind them of Invasion of Privacy. They praise tracks like her collab with Kalani, calling it one of her best. Others point to her Lizzo track as a highlight, packed with emotion and chemistry. But plenty of listeners weren't sold. Critics say much of the album sounds dated. Singles like Outside and Imaginary Players didn't perform as well as expected. Outside peaked at number 10 on the Billboard charts, but fans were expecting a number 1. And Imaginary Players barely made a dent. All of this has people asking the uncomfortable question, does Cardi still have it? That debate only intensified once fans started dissecting the lyrics and realized the album wasn't just about music, it was loaded with drama. The most obvious target, Bia. On the track Pretty and Petty, Cardi unloaded on her. And if you know their history, you understand why this moment was explosive. Years ago, Bia accused Cardi of copying her style, her flow, her fashion, even her attitude. Cardi brushed it off, saying she didn't even think about Bia. But then Bia escalated, tweeting that Cardi was cheating on Offset. From that point forward, the two had real tension. Bia even dropped a diss track aimed at Cardi. At the time, Cardi ignored it. But when Bia crossed the line by mentioning Cardi's children, that changed everything. Cardi explained on The Breakfast Club that ignoring disrespect toward her kids wasn't an option. So, Pretty and Petty became Cardi's official response. Fans called it a takedown. Bia's name trended, but not in the way she wanted. For Cardi, it wasn't just revenge, it was reputation management. But Bia wasn't the only one catching strays. Listeners quickly pointed out subliminal shots aimed at JT and Ice Spice. Cardi never says their names directly, but the wordplay, the tone, the timing, it all felt too pointed to ignore. Fans lit up Twitter with theories. dissecting lines and trading receipts. Suddenly, Am I the Drama didn't feel like just an album. It felt like Cardi's personal battlefield. Every bar seemed loaded with context. Every diss hinted at a bigger story. And then beyond the beef, Cardi got even more personal. Scattered across the album are references to her messy split from Offset, tracks dripping with heartbreak, anger, and vulnerability. For years, their marriage has been the subject of endless gossip, rumors of cheating, breakups, reconciliations. This time, Cardi put it into the music. For some fans, these songs are the most powerful part of the album. For others, they feel out of place, a jarring contrast to the hype tracks. But together, they shape a bigger narrative. Cardi asking herself, am I the drama? It's not just a title, it's self-awareness. But if Cardi hoped that honesty would silence her critics, the opposite happened. The reviews kept rolling in and the divide only grew. On the positive side, people loved the rollout. Cardi kept fans fed with teasers, posts, and content. It felt like Cardi Week. They also loved the R&B collabs. Her chemistry with Kehlani, Lizzo, and Selena Gomez stood out, and of course, the drama. Fans admitted the diss tracks added spice, but then came the cons. First, the wait. 7 years is a long time, and some felt the final product wasn't worth it. Others said too many tracks relied on shock value, lines designed to get a reaction, but without real replay power. Critics also noted Cardi wasted energy on old beefs instead of evolving her sound. And some questioned how many of these songs could translate to arena performances. Still, others argued that wasn't the point. This was Cardi giving fans what they'd been waiting for: unapologetic drama. The guest lineup became its own talking point. Lizzo brought powerhouse vocals. Selena Gomez's collab surprised many fans with its smooth chemistry. And Summer Walker's multiple appearances gave the album depth. But not every feature lived up to the hype. The so-called Janet Jackson feature turned out to be a sample. Fans felt teased, expecting a full collaboration only to get nostalgia packaged as novelty. On the other hand, Bodega Baddies emerged as an early fan favorite, destined to go viral on TikTok. The only complaint? It's too short. And then there was Pretty and Petty. Even critics who disliked the album admitted Cardi snapped on that track. Still, when the dust settled, the big question remained: what does this album really mean for Cardi B's career? Am I the Drama is both a victory and a gamble. On one hand, Cardi proved she still knows how to dominate headlines. On the other, the mixed reviews raised doubts about her longevity. Platinum on day one looks good on paper, but critics argue it doesn't prove cultural relevance, it just proves past success. The drama-filled lyrics created buzz, but also risked overshadowing the music. And the vulnerability about Offset showed honesty, but also fed gossip cycles that Cardi has spent years trying to escape. In short, the album did exactly what its title promised. It made Cardi the drama. So, was this a win or a misstep? Fans are divided. Some say Cardi proved she's still untouchable, still a cultural force who can own the conversation. Others argue she leaned too heavily on old hits and old beefs instead of pushing her artistry forward. Either way, the debate proves one thing: Cardi B is still impossible to ignore. But what do you think? Was putting WAP and Up on the album a smart business move, or was it cheating the stats? Did Cardi snap on her disses, or was it just recycled beef? And after 7 years of waiting, do you think Am I the Drama lived up to the hype, or did it fall flat? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this story is far from over.
Cardi, why would you go and tell us name 5 Bill songs? Listen, technically she wasn't lying, okay? Because I don't know not damn Bill song. The only Bill song I know is by Lil Jon and the East Side Crew. Now that I listened to Cardi's album in its entirety, y'all, I'm not playing. Cardi went in that studio and snapped for real. Like, every feature that she had on there did they thing. Like Lizzo, she had her Jennifer Hudson going on, but she sounded real good. Selena Gomez, the way Selena and Cardi complimented each other on the album, 10 out of 10. The only negative thing I could say about the album is when it came to the Janet Jackson feature, it was a sample, okay? So technically was it a feature, but other than that, I really enjoyed this album, and it's like no skips. Like, do you know how hard of an album it has to be to have 23 songs and you can just listen to it and not skip any one? Like, Cardi did this, okay? And Cardi, if you see this video and when you come to my city for the tour, we should link up, okay? Let's make that happen. I'm gonna keep saying that until it happens. Like, me and Cardi, we gonna link up.
Pros and cons of Cardi B new album, Am I the Drama? I'm gonna start off with the pros. First of all, the rollout, actually, I love the rollout. Every day you was posting something, it was something new coming out. Basically, this has been a Cardi B week, I ain't gonna lie. Secondly, I love the nostalgic vibes of Invasion of Privacy, like a little bit of drop, a little bit of feelings, but it still felt new and up to date in certain ways. That was cute, Cardi. Thirdly, I love when she do songs that got an R&B artist doing the chorus and she doing the rapping part, like the one with her and Kehlani, Safe. I love that. To me, that's the best song on the album. Top 3 at least. And of course, we love the drama. You ate up on the rap beats, Cardi. Now, the cons is only one big con for me. I just feel like we just should never waited 7 years for that. I feel like that would have been just cute, released 2 years ago.
Me personally, when I listen to Cardi B album, it kind of give me like shock value listening. Like, you know, like when you hear something for the first time, you'd be like, oh, why would they say that? But it's like that one time is the one time you're going to feel that way. Like, as far as like, if I go back and listen to Magnet a couple times over and over, it's like when I first heard it, it's like, okay, damn, you really said that shit. But it's like after a while, you're like, that's it. Like, and then, like, when it came down to Bia, it's like, I ain't gonna lie, I'll be dead too. But it's like, you really brought that beef back out of the woodworks when really, honestly, nobody was thinking about her. You made us think about her again. That's why I'm like, it's kind of like this moment was like a little bit of spite. Now, granted, you know, the song's about Offset. Those can run free. But I'm like, it's come down to the other parts, just like, it's just like a lot of energy was just put towards, like, old beef and stuff like that. Like, if this was a normal person, we would pretty much be like, you're still on that, like you're still going back and forth with these bitches all this time. I'm just personally trying to figure out how is this going to transfer into an arena performance. Like, as far as having songs that you could like dance to and like have a choreography to, I'm trying to like really grasp like what songs are actually going to have like a stage presence, if you know what I mean. All I have to say is though, just don't take 7 years again.
Cardi B has dropped her long-awaited album, Am I the Drama? It's been around 8 years since she dropped Invasion of Privacy, and I just listened to Am I the Drama? And I'm going to give you my honest review and how I feel about the album. When I first heard Invasion of Privacy, I remember I was playing that joint in my car and I was just vibing from the first track to the last. It had like a bunch of rappers in there. We also had the inclusion of the Migos. Obviously, we don't have that on this album. This album doesn't have a lot of rap features. When I looked at the features for this album, I seen a lot of like, it's heavily driven on female songwriters, female singers. It has Kehlani, it has Lizzo. So, and it has Summer Walker, who actually shows up multiple times on this album. For the most part, Cardi soloed this album herself, which was surprising to see, but it was amazing because I think she did an amazing job on this album. Even with the features and the female songwriters that's featured on this album is hard. Cardi went off on this album. This is Cardi's testament to her pain and everything that she's been through throughout the years. You definitely have a lot of, you know, conversations, you know, that she's having towards her baby father, Offset. So you're definitely going to hear her saying things about that. But for the most part, this is a rap album. The singles that she put out outside and Imaginary Players was just a slicing on the cake compared to what is on this album. Bodega Baddies is gonna go crazy on TikTok. My only issue with that song is that it's too short. I wish it was longer. I really wish it was. My favorite song just so happens to be a song she has on there with Lizzo because it has a sample that I love. And when you hear the song, you'll know why. She also has a song on there called Pretty and Petty where she's responding to Bia's diss track. And if I was Bia, honestly, I would go somewhere and just hide and hope that it don't rain tomorrow because she cooked the hell out of Bia. I give this album, honestly, a 10 out of 10. You know, this album did something for me that only certain albums can do. And it left me with a bunch of different emotions from everything that Cardi was discussing, you know, and the delivery and how she put it out. It was just crazy. It's like amazing to listen to and it was amazing to hear. I didn't know what I expected from this album, but it gave me everything that I wanted from this album.